Hello, Taylor.
Good, how are you?
I'm so well talking to you. I'm so excited about this. I know you have so many names you've coined for yourself, the blockbuster and everything. I personally love Cinderella of Big Brother, Brandy and Whitney Houston version, of course.
Duh, only one we acknowledge and recognize in this household, okay? And all households across the country, period.
Exactly. Jumping in to your game, I do want to talk about the microaggressions as a Black woman watching. I tuned into it. One that you really picked up on was the word nice and how people were using it. You talked to Kyle about how it was triggering for him to say, "What if we're sending a nice girl home?" When talking about Alyssa. And Monty, when he wanted to talk about things going left with you guys, was saying, why not be nice? Can you talk about overcoming this perception of not being the nice girl and getting this win?
Well, it's funny because as everyone else was able to see, I was just consistently nice and kind. And I even had a larger conversation about how I think there's a difference between being kind or nice. Kind comes from the heart, nice is how it is perceived. So if you're being nice, you're doing it so that people think, like, there's intention for people to think that you are one way. But if you're kind, it's just a matter of who you are. And when we talk about just wanting women to be nice, so much of that is really boiling down to, I just want you to be digestible. I just want you to be palatable. And there's so much about me that is not palatable. I am a very confident person. I can be bold, sometimes brash, definitely brazen. And I'm never given, it's very rare that I'm given the opportunity to have those aspects of me that are very strong and powerful to also equal niceness or kindness, which is more important to me. So when you have people who do not look like me, who are in the house, who make a mistake that people know you should never make in the game of Big Brother, make a very easily evictable offense that could make my entire alliance just have a very easy week. It's very frustrating to have people just rally so hard for them, because there were so many opportunities in this house where I was never given the benefit to just be nice. And in other aspects with Monty, that conversation I had, it took a lot for us to grow from where we started in the game to where we were at that point in the game as friends. I was really excited to reach that point with him. So for him to so quickly revert into wanting to push me back into a smaller position, I grew larger as a more bold, I took up more space. And I think he was threatened by the fact that I was taking up so much space. So he was insinuating, you need to be smaller. You need to go back to what I'm more comfortable with. And, luckily enough, at that point in the game, I had enough under my belt to say, no, I'm not going to just be nice anymore.
Yes, I think the needing for you to shrink came up a lot for fans to see. One thing that I personally think of with this is Brittany. She was a very good ally to you and friend, but I think sometimes when it came to the gameplay and when your position ever was better than her, things were sleeping out. She told Michael she thought you were making moves for TV. She said you were having combos on your HOH bed for people to look up at you. And then she flipped that vote on you, hoping you'd go home. She claimed it was because she thought she could beat Alyssa, which is probably true, but it also overlooks that she was throwing away an ally who was fighting for her to stay over Turner just because you were having fewer conversations with her at the final five. So how aware were you of Brittany's feelings, and how do you feel about knowing this information now?
Well, this is definitely the first time I'm hearing a lot of this information, but I will say, when you're in the Big Brother house, it's very easy to put yourself in a position where you are afraid that your allies are slipping away from you. And I will own that I did not continue to communicate with Brittany, hey, I'm going to create distance so I can work this side of the house. That is one of my biggest regrets in the game, because Brittany has been one of my strongest allies from the jump. And I'm sure it is out there, even when I felt distance from her, even when I wasn't sure if I believed that she was actually turning on me or not, I still said, well, moving forward with her in the game is so good for my game, so I'm still going to stick to this mission anyway. I understand the frustration and the paranoia because that's just the nature of the house. And, you know, at the end of this, Brittany is still my friend, and Brittany and I are going to have a lifelong friendship, which I know is going to make some people frustrated, but I think she just vocalized the moments where she was more insecure about a relationship or friendship or standing in the game. But there were plenty of times where I felt the same way. I think I was just bullied or ostracized more in the house where people were more willing to see that and validate my perspective. Whereas I was so loyal to Brittany and it was very obvious from a fan's perspective, but I didn't go the extra mile to tell her in the last few days of the game. And that's when it gets even more intense.
Okay. Jumping to other aspects of your game, you told the ladies you had a crush on Daniel to bond with them, but how much was picking Daniel genuine, or like this is lower threat level on like any of the women turning on you?
You know, that was just me having been sequestered and seeing somebody who probably would have given it a little bit earlier. And I was not too far off in this assumption because I heard he had a little ranking of the hottest girls in the house, and I was number two, a low number two apparently. But you know, it gets rough those early days. You're just like, okay, who am I being set up for? What's supposed to be a match? I'm single. There's other single people. What's gonna happen here? Clearly not that one.
Moving on to Monty and it all. Did there need to be another breakup talk after the finale, or did you guys move in like we had the conversation, we're good?
Yeah, we had the conversation. I think there's a lot that Monty and I will have to have some conversations about, and I think we also just kind of knew what it was when we were getting into it. Monty is someone who I thought was a friend in the house, and we'll have to re-examine our friendship based on what I learned about both of our times in the game. But for where we were, we just realized we weren't a match, but we were getting what we needed from each other then.
Got it. You didn't want to be dragged by a man, but you won that HOH that already got you to the finale. So in my perspective, there was no dragging there, but why were you so fearful of that perception?
Well, when you are a woman in this game, it's very rare that a woman will sit next to a man in final two and win over. I think I was told it's only the second time in the history of this game that I have won sitting next to a man, which it's been 24 seasons. Come on. I also, one, had this label of not being a girl's girl. And coming into this game, I wanted to play a game for the girls. I wanted to take the women with me as far as possible. And I felt like a failure not having the chance or the opportunity to actually take myself there in final one or final two. It's really important to me that I can protect myself in the end of the game and put myself in a position where I can have the final say in the final moment of power. There's something to be said about the social game I was able to work in the end there. I'm really grateful that Monty did take me to the end, pick me in the end when he won HOH. But for me, I had been down so many times in this game. I just wanted the power for myself, and having that power for myself also felt like I was having power for all the women who have played this game to choose a guy to sit next to me, not to have a guy choose someone to sit next to them that they thought that they could beat easily. It ended up working out. I know that's right. I got a little kitten meow over here agreeing. So it ended up working out, thankfully. But even then, I didn't think it would work out because I was very positive that either Turner or Monty had the votes against me to beat me. Now, I have heard that the jury had their mind made up even before my speech, well before, it blows my mind. I thought all I had was that final argument, but they saw a different side of my game that I was not even able to see myself.